sisters, we've all turned up the radio to hear Brother Jimmy Lakey, from coast to coast and shore to shore. Now raise your voice. Oh, let us all, Jimmy Lakey, get out of bed. Jimmy Lakey, raise your voice. Jimmy Lakey, Lakey, hey, can't live without it with Jimmy Lakey. Jimmy Lakey.
I hear the applause. I thank you for it. It's very nice to have you clapping this early in the morning for me. Glad to have you. How is everybody out there? Glorious day the Lord has made. And Jimmy is my name. Lakey Unleashed is the name of the streamcast. And here we are for another episode. It is Tuesday, the 6th day of May, the year of our Lord. We didn't change it on the show sheet, but it is Tuesday. Let me hang on. Correction here. I got to do this in real time so I don't forget. Tuesday. I'm writing that down. Somebody says I say Tuesday very strange. I don't think I say it strangely at all. You know what Tuesday means for years on the radio? Tuesday is synonymous with Laura Carno of lauracarno.com fame and Faster Colorado. So, hey, Laura Carno is coming up here at 9 o'clock this morning. 8:30 this morning. You do not want to miss that. One of the favorite all-time guests that contemplated and conversated with me for years on the radio. And now she joins me on the streamcast and the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, have you subscribed to the new podcast? It's the same as the streamcast, except you can listen to it later on in the day. And we'd love to have you participate on that. Just go to the Apple Podcasts, the Spotify, the app at the iTunes, or what is it called? iHeart? I've heard of them before. I think I've heard of them before. Go to one of those platforms and subscribe there, and we would love to have you participate. And that way, if you missed the live show, you're not watching the beautiful video production, you can at least hear the audio, and I will tickle your earlobes with my dulcet tones, repeating the show audio only. Obnoxious Scott jumps in and says, good morning, all the Lakey lovers out there. Jim says on the chat room, good morning from Detroit Lakes, Michigan. God bless Detroit Lakes, Michigan. Is the frozen tundra is probably no longer frozen up there. It's probably defrosted about now. There's Arloa checking in from Texas this morning. She says, woohoo, yeah, Laura today. If you're just listening to the audio portion, what I'm reading is not mental glitches in my head. People are commenting on all the platforms. So if you're on the YouTube this morning, comment. Give us a shout out there. We'd love to hear from you on the YouTubes. And the Rumble, we also get those here in the studio. That's where Obnoxious Scott was at. And Facebook, all the Facebook feeds. We're on several Facebook feeds, facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page, the Media Equalizer, Red Wave America. So wherever you are participating in today's program, we would love to hear from you. By the way, all you hipsters at Instagram, we don't see your comments in the studio, but I just now went over to the Instagram room, and not many people there. There's looks like one or two people lurking around there, but say something. And would love to comment. I'll read whatever the Instagrammers are saying this morning. The hipsters in their skinny jeans, probably living in their mom's basement on the IG. But we don't judge here on this program. We're not that kind of show. All right, Papal Conclave, does that begin today or tomorrow? Am I supposed to fly out there? Am I under consideration in any way? If I am, I need to catch a plane after the show. But last I knew, since I'm not Catholic, and I was going to say a couple of other things, but let's just leave it there. Since I'm not Catholic, I don't think I'm eligible to be the Pope. But if they need me, give them my phone number, Delilah, and make sure that I'm available in case they have to call me. All right, anybody remember the Fetterman, that senator from Pennsylvania? The Democrats are turning on him. I want to get into that story here a little bit. There's been some sources in D.C. that say he's not going to his medical checkups. I mean, it's very Karen-esque of these liberals out there turning on Fetterman, and it's just kind of funny to watch. We'll get to that story in a second, but the Dems have turned on Fetterman, and you have to say it's just like Mayor Adams at New York. The moment that they leave the reservation of Elizabeth Warren, and I know I ain't reservation Elizabeth Warren, the moment they leave the plantation of the Democrat Party and have a free thought, they try to take you down, whether you're the mayor of New York or whether you're John Fetterman. So we'll talk about that, but the Dems have turned on Fetterman. Also a big story that's been happening the last 2 days, and I meant to get to it yesterday. As a traveler, as you know, I oftentimes fly to Africa. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to contemplate my next trip now. And I mean, not like today, but I'm going to get on the calendar. And one of the connection points I go, because I fly out of Denver predominantly. Occasionally I've left out of St. Louis after seeing my son at college. we have to connect. I always have to connect either way, and to get to Europe and then head down to Rwanda. And usually my stop is Brussels. That's after the COVID. That seems to be the best route. It used to be London. Well, since I have to go to Brussels, that is a United Airlines flight / code share with Brussels Air. So you get the lay of the land. Where do I have to stop when I leave Denver or St. Louis? I have to go somewhere on the East Coast. Sometimes Canada. I prefer to avoid that. And it's usually Newark is where I end up going to, Newark. And the last time, I think it was November when I was there. I was there in November and December. I was sitting there thinking I have plenty of time to make my connection in Brussels because you land from Newark to Brussels, you catch a shuttle, you go to the next plane, and then you catch your flight to Kigali, Rwanda in Africa. We're sitting there in Newark forever and ever and ever and a day. And I happened to be in the bulkhead, and there was a flight attendant right in front of me sitting. We're staring at each other awkwardly and gazing in each other's eyes. I'm sure she was very impressed by me, as you would have been. So we're staring at each other, looking lovingly at each other. And I said, well, what's the delay? And we're 30 minutes, we're 45 minutes. We're just sitting there. And she rolled her eyes and she says, I hate this airport. It was Newark. And I said, why is that? She goes, I think she lived in Chicago. And she says, I usually try to originate out of Chicago, but occasionally I have to originate and fly down here to Newark and catch an international flight. And she says, this airport is horrible. She says, there's something about the air traffic control system here that is the worst in the country. She says, I actually sometimes feel unsafe here. She goes, I just pray to God they know what they're doing, but this happens every time. And we were delayed probably 90 minutes just sitting there. They were just trying to monitor traffic coming in, and they had excuses, a lot of incoming flights coming in. It was a mess. But the flight attendant told me something, because I've been delayed on flights before. The flight attendant tells me something and says, this is the worst it is, the worst in the nation out there. And so now we have the story that last week at Newark, the air traffic control towers lost everybody. Traffic control, this is flight so-and-so from so-and-so. Traffic control, are you there? Air traffic control, Newark. No one's there. Newark couldn't talk to anybody. Nobody could talk to them. It was an air traffic crisis is what happened. And I can't wait till Thursday. We had Jay Ratliff on the program to find out, because I had firsthand testimony back in, it was either October, November, December, because I was there like 2 or 3 times in a row to Africa, that I'm sitting there and the flight attendant is confessing as if it's, this could be it. This could be the big one for us, and confessing that Newark is a very, very bad airport when it comes to air traffic control. So watch this story. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. United Airlines has decided they are going to, I'm going to hit the cough button here. United Airlines has decided they're canceling some of the flights out of Newark until they figure it out. But it's a really bizarre story. Can you imagine flying into an airport, being the pilot, and you're the pilot, and now you cannot reach your air traffic control? And those are busy airspaces. I mean, you've got Newark, you've got JFK, you've got all sorts of airports up that East Coast seaboard, and there's a lot of air traffic out there. And for an air traffic controller to come out and whistleblow and say, we're screwed up here. The air traffic controller came out, who was, I guess he's a whistleblower. He left his job, said it's not safe. It's not a situation right now for the flying public. Really incredible statement, is unsolicited. He tells MSNBC, don't fly into Newark, avoid Newark at all costs. His name is Costello. No, that's NBC News correspondent Tom Costello, who talked to this flight attendant who walked off the job and said it's just not safe. Really incredible statement, he said. The airport serves 49 million travelers in 2024, second busiest in the New York City area, and has been drowning in delays and cancellations for days. Well, hell, this was November. We were delayed immensely out of there. Makes me wonder how close I was to the very edge flying out of Newark. Federal aviation administrators have blamed a shortage of air traffic controllers at the airport, along with runway construction. Newark has lost 20% of its air traffic controllers in recent weeks. The situation has grown so dire that United Airlines, which uses the airport as a primary East Coast hub, announced it was canceling 35 round trips flight daily, saying it was necessary in order to protect our customers. This particular air traffic control facility has been chronically understaffed for years, and without these controllers, it's now clear, and the FAA tells us that Newark Airport cannot handle the number of planes that are scheduled. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy issues a plea for more air traffic controllers. He's offering $5,000 bonuses for new hires and warning that the system was beginning to deteriorate. So anyway, all that being said, as I was contemplating yesterday when I'm going to head back to Rwanda, hopefully the next 30 to 60 days is when I'm hoping to get over there. And when I do, I will make sure that my travel agent, almost call him my travel assistant, he is, my travel agent, gets me on a flight that does not go through Newark. So if you're routing through Newark, God bless you. We'll get to that story a little bit more. All right, we're going to get to the story here later on the program after we talk to Laura Carno and after we talk to Donald Wilkie, my first guest, who's now waiting in the green room for his appearance here in the House of Lakey, the Lakey Unleashed streamcast and podcast now. But here's the story. Donald Trump's up in the White House. We've heard that, right? You do. We have a president named Donald Trump. I'm sure you're aware of that. And so Donald has been thinking about Colorado a lot lately. And I find this to be very, very intriguing. Most of you know, for 20-something years, I have done talk radio in Colorado. The last 10 years, I was on the Death Star, the big media conglomerate. And now I have been unleashed from the confines of corporate radio. I've been unleashed, right? So I'm unleashed, and here we are doing this show together. Well, Donald Trump, the last couple of days, has been thinking a lot about Colorado. And I'm not sure if you saw this, but I would like to read it to you, and we'll talk about this on the other side. I'll put it up on the screen in just a second. But yesterday we were talking about Donald Trump is suing the city of Denver. He's suing the officials of Denver. He's suing the state of Colorado and the officials of the state of Colorado for their sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies. So there has been a lawsuit filed. We talked about yesterday the Colorado High School Activities Association is CHASA. They oversee high school sports and activities. They have doubled down on stupid and decided that, ready? They have decided that the girls should be able to face biological boys and have their face smashed in volleyball if a biological boy is across the net from them. The state of Colorado has basically doubled down on biological boys, the boys with the twig and berries, getting to play against the girls, and it doesn't matter. Girls, shut up, Buttercup, because that little mentally ill dude says he's a woman, and he gets to pretend that he's a woman. So they doubled down. Now, we talked about this yesterday in the show, that this President Trump and the Department of Justice have sued the state of Maine for the same type of idiocy and stupidity. Well, if the state of Colorado is being sued for their sanctuary city stupidity, it is amazing now to think that the avenue that your taxpayer dollars here in Colorado are going to have to go to defend the stupidity of biological boys and girls sports. Because if they're going to sue Maine for the same stupidity, you think they're going to come for Colorado, and they've already had to come for Colorado on a lot of things. Number one, they had to come for Colorado and rescue us from Tren de Aragua, which our boneheaded governor said was not here because he's a gaslighter in chief. But they were here. They were lurking the streets of Denver and Aurora. And so we had to do some deportation. Colorado's in the crosshairs right now. And I kind of think it's good. Colorado has been operating with a bunch of boneheads down at the Gold Dome of Dummies in the state capitol, which, by the way, tomorrow I think is their final day in session for this state legislative session. We'll talk to Laura Carno about that. But if they're already getting sued about sanctuary city policies, and I'm thinking they're about to get their asses sued regarding boys and girls sports. I think that's about to come down from the Trump administration. And then this posted last night on Truth Social. I'm not sure if you saw it. This is from Donald J. Trump. He happens to be the president of the United States. I know it's small print, but let me read it for you. Ready? I will read this to you. It says, radical left Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, who's running for governor, by the way, ignores illegals committing violent crimes like rape and murder in his state, and instead jails Tina Peters. Now, if you're outside of the state of Colorado, let me tell you who Tina Peters is. Tina Peters was a county clerk up in a rural mountain county, and she was pretty much convinced that the 2020 election was rigged. And she was a long story. Look up Tina Peters, and she had a trial. And she's an elderly woman, 60-something years old, is a Gold Star mom. I mean, she's an interesting lady, but nothing against Tina. I met her twice in my life. She probably wouldn't even remember me. I was at an event that she was at. Anyway, nevertheless, she got put in jail like 10 years for crazy stuff, all because she questioned the 2020 election and our state of Colorado's participation and or optics regarding that. So you look up the story yourself. But I would say she received an overly harsh penalty, being that our Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, left out publicly codes to secret machines that could have hacked elections. I mean, Jenna Griswold has done all sorts of stuff of violation of election integrity in this state. But Tina Peters goes to jail, 69-year-old Gold Star mother. So here's the rest of the piece from Donald J. Trump. He says this. He says, Tina is an innocent political prisoner being horribly and unjustly punished by the form of cruel and unusual punishment. This is a communist persecution, talking about Jared Polis and Phil Weiser, the leaders of the state of Colorado. This is a communist persecution by the radical left Democrats to cover up their election crimes and misdeeds in 2020. The same Democrat Party that flies to El Salvador to try to free an MS-13 terrorist is cruelly imprisoning, perhaps for life, a grandmother whose brave and heroic son gave his life for America. Colorado must end this unjust incarceration of an innocent American. I am hereby directing the Department of Justice to take all necessary action to help secure the release of this hostage being held in the state of Colorado in a prison by Democrats for political reasons. And he signs it off, free Tina Peters now. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, about every day, and producer Chad notes this because he sees all the comments that come in. We have 2 or 3 of you that seem like every day weave the phrase into the comment section, free Tina Peters. Every day it gets put out there. Well, evidently, President Trump has been watching the show, and we're going to talk more about this because if President Trump is suing the asses of the state, the mayor, the governor, for sanctuary city policies. I expect a lawsuit coming for Chassa coming soon from Washington. And now he says we're going to free Tina Peters. It's interesting. He's got to be watching what's happening in the state of Colorado. It says, wow, they have gone bat crap crazy there, and an intervention is what is needed. So thank you, President Trump. We appreciate you because the tyrant and the tyranny is real here in this state. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome in my first guest of the morning as I have pontificated 3 minutes over my allotted pontification program. I apologize for that, but you know what? It's my show. It's named after me. I do what the hell I want. Thank you. No, I'm not that arrogant. Most days. Donald Wilkie, he's the author of a book called Freedom Revealed, A Simple, Elegant System. Donald Wilkie's been waiting patiently in the green room here, and we pop him onto the stage now. Donald, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, first of all, let's plug the book. Sometimes we wait till the end of an interview, and then you don't get to talk about the book. We do have a topic, but the name of the book, Freedom Revealed, A Simple, Elegant System. Go ahead.
Yes, a system. Everybody looks at freedom as a philosophy, but freedom is actually a system that can be replicated anywhere. And systems are composed of elements. Once you understand the elements, how they work, like a car is a system. Once you understand how the parts of the car work, you can have freedom everywhere. And it's high time that the American public, the world in general, understands the elements of a system of freedom. And that's the purpose of the book.
Well, I'm going to come back. We're going to circle back. And I want to get to kind of what the system is and tease the book a little bit more. But the name of the book, Freedom Revealed, A Simple, Elegant System. Let me give you a starting off point, though, of a conversation I'd like to have with you. President Trump announced over the weekend that, hey, we need to reopen Alcatraz. It's currently one of our national parks. We need to have it as a symbol of law and order in our country. And I'm sure it'd take billions of dollars to refurb it. Not sure how far it will go. But give me your thoughts here. President Trump saying, let's reopen Alcatraz. What's the point here?
I think it's classic Trump. I think he's preparing the groundwork. When you say the word Alcatraz, you get the mental picture in your mind of the worst prison with the worst prisoners. And I don't think it's really necessary to be a physical location, but the concept of putting away people for a long time in a maximum security jail is what I think Trump is preparing the citizens of the country to think about.
We have these illegals that have been returned to El Salvador, and the American left seems to be very bothered by them. President Trump tweets out about a county clerk here in Colorado that's jailed for 10 years, and nobody's going to visit her, and she just simply questioned the 2020 election. It seems as if he's saying some things that he wants to bring back not just the image of this prison, but he wants to bring back this day of law and order, in which if you think then, if you knew who was in Alcatraz, you're like, okay, that was a gangster, that was a murderer, that was a bad person. Our justice system has now gone to the place, that was a Republican. That was a county clerk. That person was a Trump supporter. In a lot of people's heads, the justice system has gone to political persecution. Is he trying to invoke the fact that maybe we should go after criminals again and lock them up in bad places?
Yeah, and what we have to understand as Americans is the rule of law. And we all, I think, most of us have seen the statue of Lady Justice holding the scales in front of her, wearing a blindfold. Now, the whole point behind American law is Lady Justice doesn't know who's in front of her. She applies the law equally. And you're absolutely right. The politics in the courtroom is just horrendous. There's another woman out of Minneapolis, I believe, who is using DEI in her judgments, and the Department of Justice is investigating her now. I forget what her name is.
Yeah. Those are the judge that said that or the district attorney, you should be considering race when it comes to sentencing. Make sure if the skin color's a certain tone, you might want to dial it back. If it's another tone, you might want to ramp it up. And that's basically what they said.
Yeah, ridiculous. And, if you went back to our founding, they understood this. Of course, we had slavery at our founding, but we also had people from all over the world in the country. And the whole point, and which had really never been tried before, was you have one set of laws and one set of laws only, and they apply equally to everybody. And that was the whole basis for the Constitution.
Donald Wilkie is my guest. If you're listening, obviously some of you watching this show live, but thousands of you watch it throughout the week on the stream, on the podcast, on the Apple Podcast, and on the iHeart and the Spotify. So if you listen later, that's the voice of Donald Wilkie. He has a book called Freedom Revealed: A Simple, Elegant System. Donald, the system's broken. We have a president that we're talking about the political persecution, DEI of the Department of Justice, all these political prosecutions that are happening. We also now have judges that are kind of overstepping their boundaries, separate but co-equal branches of government, and they were envisioned to be the weakest of it, telling President Trump, I know that law's on the book, but you can't use it like that. You say it's a simple, elegant system that we have in America. Is our system broken here?
Yeah. Not necessarily broken, as ignored. And what we have to do is go back to the fundamentals, and then the system will right itself. If I can give a quick little summary of what the gist of the book is.
Yeah.
There are two systems for humankind. One is the marketplace, one is government. Big systems. All our money either goes to the marketplace or it goes to government. But when you understand the difference between government and the marketplace, you understand the marketplace is a competitive system and the government is a non-competitive system. And that makes all the difference.
Unpack that a little bit more, because some people are listening to audio only. They're like, okay, what did he just say? The government and the unpack that, because I think that's really intriguing, and it got my mind spinning. And I can imagine somebody driving down the I-25 or the I-45 or wherever they're at driving going, rewind that, Mabel, let's play that again.
Okay, well, I came to it by looking at how nature operates. And the environmental mantra is there is no waste in nature. What is the mechanism that eliminates waste from nature? Well, that mechanism is competition. So if there is no waste in nature, nature is a perfect competitive system. Well, when you look at the marketplace, you see that it operates exactly like nature. It's very competitive. We're continually eliminating waste, and it's the elimination of waste in the marketplace that creates prosperity. However, when you look at government, how many governments do you have in a country? You have one government. It's impossible to have competition. So what you're going to have as a result, it's systematic. And I want people to think it's not good people, bad people. It's systematic. Government is going to waste. And we have the cards shown by the Doge group. Everything they looked at was fraught with waste. That's what the system's going to do. It has to be continually monitored.
Help us understand a little bit. By the way, again, the name of the book, Freedom Revealed: A Simple and Elegant System. You said our system's maybe not broken, but it has been ignored and not paid attention to. What do we have to do? Obviously, Doge is getting rid of some of that budgetary and operational waste, fraud, and abuse. But some of these other systems that we're talking about as part of our government, the legal system, the justice system, Lady Justice is no longer blindfolded. What is it that we need to do to correct that?
Well, when you go back to the founding, you realize that we were the first country in human history to purposefully limit government. I don't think that has been explained well enough to the public. There was a reason for limiting government, and my guru, Benjamin Franklin, the guy that I learned all this stuff from, was behind the idea. Government is going to waste. It's systematic. And once you understand that, you don't want government to become big. So what we did at the founding was limit government, which allowed the marketplace to work. In the first 50, 60 years of American history, we became the richest nation that the world had ever seen. And nobody understood why. Well, what is Trump doing today? He's limiting government and he's increasing the marketplace, spurring on the marketplace, doing everything he can do to create a better marketplace. The marketplace is where you create prosperity because you're eliminating waste. And as you eliminate waste, create prosperity, you have a happier, healthier country. It's just so simple.
You mentioned the phrase of limited government, and it's not been explained properly, and it's probably still not being explained because every time there's a problem in our lives or in our communities or whatever, we say, oh, what can the government do? How do you explain that? Does somebody say, well, limited government, we need the government to do this, this, and this? How do you explain the theory or the thought of limited government being important to people who have been indoctrinated for maybe years in an education system that did not teach that? What's the best way to, I guess, convert them?
Okay. I said freedom is a system. All systems are composed of elements. Elements are systems. Okay. And what you have to do is understand what a system can do. So, for example, a chair is made for sitting. You wouldn't expect a chair to knit a sweater, for example. A government is meant to produce laws and enforce laws. Why would you expect the government to do things that the marketplace does? You shouldn't. So, for example, a big thing is healthcare. Everybody says the government should provide us with healthcare. Well, that's a marketplace operation. If the government gets involved, which has been shown over and over and over again, they are going to waste. It's a systematic problem. It's not a personality problem. It's systematic. You put things that belong in the marketplace, you put things that belong in the government. And this is the thing that we've been missing here for the last 50, maybe 100 years. We think the government can do what the marketplace can do. In fact, I've heard this too. Why don't we let the government do it? Because they're not going to make a profit. And because they're not going to make a profit, they do it cheaper. Have you heard that?
I've heard that.
Yeah, well, that's such a ridiculous statement because the government is going to waste. So the profit goes out the window.
Yeah.
The marketplace is going to compete. Competition always eliminates waste. As waste is eliminated, you get lower prices, innovation, and a happier, better economy. And the people become happier. All the big countries that have big government, the people are miserable.
Yeah.
You know?
It is amazing, the part of our documents that actually say that outside of a couple of things, those things that are not defined here are reserved to the state. We don't want a big government, bloated government in D.C. We are in direct violation of that every freaking day. There's so many things.
Yeah, think about that a little in the way of competition, waste, and ease. Federalism is 50 states competing. That's a way of introducing competition to government. It's a beautiful thing. And we kind of ignore that. And you're exactly right. There should be, for example, no national welfare. There should only be state welfare because now you have competition in how it's administered. And the price and cost is going to go down. When you have it in the national government, there's no limit to how much waste you can have.
That's why we got to get rid of that Department of Education. Let each state compete with each other and stop this heavy-handed big government education system.
Exactly. Federalism is really a great thing to have, and we just sort of fell into it. I think Benjamin Franklin, again, was the force behind federalism. But its competition is really much more powerful than we ever really give it a thought. And the thing that we have missed, as everybody around the world, is competition and waste are connected. Get a mental picture of a seesaw. On the seesaw, put competition on one side and waste on the other. When competition goes up, waste goes down. When competition goes down, waste goes up. If you always look at those two as connected, like space-time, you'll understand what's going on. It really brings a clarity.
That's a great mental image for everybody as we try to educate people why we want that limited government. Very quickly, I kind of like this game as a student of history and worked very hard to get that undergrad in the old history. And then I failed to go to law school. I was trying, but I got into radio. It happens that way. If Benjamin Franklin, old Benjamin, he was an eccentric fella, had his dalliances, had a lot of fun in life. He lived a very, very full life. Let's just say that. If he were to come through a time machine and show up in the modern day America and say, "Hey Ben, this is the country you helped found. This is it," do you think he'd just keel over and die?
Well, no. Franklin was always a very forward-looking kind of person. In fact, 300 years ago, he predicted there'd be flight. He always was curious what would happen in the future. I think if he came here today, he would be astounded at just how prosperous and advanced the United States is. Now, that being said, Franklin always wanted to know how things worked, and he always got down to the root of things, and he would look and try to improve what needs improving. And the old foundation of competition, waste, and ease, he would look at and say, why are you letting your government do these things? It has no place in government.
Yeah.
But, a brilliant man.
Donald Wilkie, author of the book called Freedom Revealed, A Simple, Elegant System. Donald, if someone wants to get a copy of the book or follow you, where do they go, sir?
Well, the usual suspects, Amazon. My publisher, Book Baby, sells the book too. Barnes & Noble. And I'm on Substack. I've got Freedom Revealed on Substack, and I've got a lot of videos there. And the videos explain the system of freedom, and they're quite interesting and quite good. I suggest everybody take a look at a few of them.
Donald Wilkie, go look him up on the Substack. Donald, appreciate your time. Congrats on the book. Let's talk again very soon. The music means I got to take a break. Laura Carno's waiting on us. Everybody stand by. Lakey has been unleashed from the confines of corporate radio. Stand by, Carno Tuesday.
1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning is on call 24/7, even on weekends and holidays. We pride ourselves in our on-time guarantees. In addition to installation and repairs, we offer maintenance services. So no matter when you need us, you can always count on 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning to keep your system running. Check out our family of brands for all of your service needs, including electrical and plumbing.
1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
All right, welcome back to the show. Don't forget, May 17th, I'll give you more information in a moment. May 17th, a week from this Saturday, is our casino gala at the Omni Interlaken Resort. It's going to be fantastic. We have resurrected Frank Sinatra from the dead. Hallelujah. Not really. We have a guy named Derek Evilsizer perform a couple of hours there. It's going to be a fantastic night. It's our casino gala. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. Raising money for Rivers Promise. Tickets are available. Price goes up soon. We want to see you there. And casino, poker, the whole thing. All for fun. It's not Vegas. There's no money on the table. It's all just for fun and fundraising is what we're doing. And there's an open bar. It's going to be fun. No, cash bar. Cash bar. I'm not paying all your drinks. But I'll buy your food that night. Anyway, go check it out, riverspromise.org. All right, she's waiting in the green room patiently for me to stop flapping my lips so that she can jump on the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, she's used to my rambling, so she forgives me every week over and over again. It's a great relationship we have. Laura Carno, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I forgive you. Whatever it was, I forgive you. You have to know, though, that I am multitasking while I'm in the green room. So,
Oh, you're really smoking cigarettes and doing your toenails? No, sorry, I don't know where that came from. I just made that up.
Jimmy Lakey.
Smoking cigarettes and doing your toenails. I don't know what that means. I just sometimes the image that just came into my head is shocking.
Well, at least you're not stereotyping me too much. At least I had some cigarettes there in addition to the pedicure.
I'll tell you this. We had a guest, and I'm talking. I'm trying to look at my camera and not get distracted. I'm used to so much radio that I do other things, and I try to maintain focus to the camera, being that I'm a radio guy. But producer Chad, he has his camera off in his studio, and he can watch the green room. He can monitor all things unless you turn your camera off. We can see you unless you turn your camera off, but you can still be in the green room. Well, I was getting ready to introduce, I'm not going to say which the guest was, and he was watching this lady in the green room, and I don't know if she was in a double wide or single wide, but she had a wife beater type shirt on, and she was waiting in the green to come on, and she was smoking a cigarette, adjusting her girls. Producer Chad is just laughing. And he told me after, he goes, "Did you see that?" I said, "No." He says, "Man, as soon as you started the introduction, she put down a cigarette and adjusted the girls one more time, and she's ready to go." So we haven't had her back on because I can't look her in the eye now.
Well, I think a good rule of thumb is if you are on a webcast that involves a camera, just assume the camera is always on.
It's like radio. Always assume that the microphone is always on when you're in the studio bashing your boss and telling what a jackass company you work for. Not that I've ever had that happen, but make sure you assume the mic's on. All right, Laura Carter, let's dive in here. The state of Colorado. I did this story in the last couple of days. Donald Trump and the DOJ seem to have Colorado on their mind. Donald Trump tweeting out last night a long tweet about Phil Weiser and the persecution and prosecution of Tina Peters, which we know the story well here in Colorado. He's suing the city of Denver and the state of Colorado for sanctuary city violations. I would guess there's a lawsuit coming because CHSA doubling down on biological boys and girls sports. There was a song called Georgia on My Mind. Donald Trump seems to be singing Colorado's on my mind.
Yeah, Colorado, he used to be really hyper-focused on California. We don't all want to be like California. Now we don't all want to be like Colorado because Colorado is doing its best to be just like California. So, he had, as you were mentioning earlier, he had Maine in the crosshairs on, and by the way, I mean figuratively in the crosshairs, on the transgender sports stuff. And so we're his new, I don't know, poster child, problem child, some sort of child. But yeah, it's, I don't know if it's nice to be in national news, or when I see Colorado in national news again and again, like Tren de Aragua and all that stuff. I'm like, why do we have to be so bad? It's Colorado.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, it's vindicating because people listen to the show, on the apps, and they say, "Oh, you guys are in Colorado. You get to look at the mountains and what great weather you have." And you're going, "No, do you understand the potholes are the size of craters in the moon? That we have roads that haven't improved in decades. We have an infrastructure system. Unless you're a bicyclist, it ain't getting better for you. The schools suck. I mean, the crime in downtown Denver is something you really want to just avoid the downtown area. And most parts of it, it's like San Francisco. You need a poop map to figure out where to step and not step in Denver. And people say, "You're making that up." And now you're like, "No, we're not making it up. Jared Polis has been a disaster for this state."
Yeah. And, Denver's the worst of it, but it's not just in Denver because there's a Denver metropolitan area and there's those suburbs surrounding Denver. And there is light rail that goes from Denver to Jefferson County and Douglas County and different counties. And that, because light rail doesn't always require that riders who don't have money pay, it's a mobile homeless shelter. And I had a conversation with a sheriff from one of those counties that was just talking about how tough that is for their county because light rail is delivering unto them all of these homeless people from Denver.
I had a friend that used to be an advertiser on the program. He lived out Golden Way, Golden. So that's as you're out of state. That's headed by I-70 towards the mountains. Golden, the home of Coors beers and the Rocky Mountain water, spring water there. So he used to go to a park and ride the light rail into all the Denver Nuggets and Avalanche game. And he said he had to stop going. He had to start driving or Ubering because it was so dangerous. He wouldn't want to take his children on the light rail because all the homeless were riding back and forth on it all day.
Yep. I heard that from a number of people, including people I'm related to. So I don't want to take the kids to the Rockies game on the light rail just because of some of the unsavory characters. And you don't know if they're going to be dangerous to your children or not.
Yeah. It's this was a guy that he thought for a couple of times. He said, this is going to end. We're about to have, this is going to get violent. There were a few times that he said, I'm done. And, it's welcome to Colorado. And hey, we're not doing a darn thing to help it. All right. One thing that we need to be thankful for, I guess, tomorrow is it's called Sine Die, which is the final day of our state legislature in the state of Colorado. And give me your observations. Once they gavel it out, it's constitutional. That has to end tomorrow. Where are we at?
If I were to hashtag it, it would be Lord have mercy. It's just been unbelievable. So today is the last day. As of yesterday, there were 128 bills left to be decided on. And a sane, fully functioning person might ask themselves the question, how do you give the due to each of these 128 bills in one day? They're not super long. They're not like big federal bills, but they should be given thoughtful consideration. And how do you do that when there are so many of them? Also, Jimmy, I worked back in the day, worked at the state legislature as an aide, as an adult, which, grown-ups shouldn't do that too many times in a row, but it is quite the education. But what happens in the last day or so of the legislature, it's sort of like everybody has senioritis on the last day of high school. It's kind of a party environment there. And anybody who has spent time there on that day sees that there's alcohol flowing. And so not only are there 128 bills left to decide, not only is it a compressed time frame, but I'm not convinced that every single one of those legislators, and by the way, not everybody there drinks, but I'm not convinced that every one of those legislators has all of their full faculties to be fully functioning. These are people who work for us, and they're making decisions on bills that are going to affect all of us, including this so-called transgender rights bill, which I'd say is an anti-parental rights bill. And what happened to it yesterday, I don't know if you saw what happened to it late yesterday, but holy smokes.
No, what happened yesterday? I was picking my son up from the airport.
Well, that's because you're normal. And hopefully most of your listeners are normal too and weren't paying attention to this.
They're listening to me, so they're not normal, I promise you.
This is true. Well, they come to you for the updates so that they don't have to go through all of the drama to get the news themselves. But so this is House Bill 1312, which it's had some different iterations. So I'll just say at a high level, it governed or it would govern what happens to your kids at school when they say they want to be called by a different name. Yep. And if the big controversial part of it was, if you as a parent refuse to call them by their preferred name, this could be brought up in custody battles if you were the parent who refused to call them by the preferred name. So that part has been taken out. But what happened yesterday is they did what's called a strike below. And what that means is that everything below the title is stricken, and it's a brand new stinking bill. So with 2 days left, they do a strike below, and the whole thing is new. Well, they have spent weeks and weeks and weeks defining words like dead naming, meaning referring to somebody by a former name, not their new preferred name. And they totally changed all the vocabulary to like chosen name, but without having the ability to have time to debate, what does that mean? What does chosen name mean? And that sort of thing. And there on Twitter or X, there's a 1 minute snippet of Senator Barbara Kirkmeyer just at the well saying, this is ridiculous. There are new terms. We have only today and one more day left, and everything has changed. We cannot do this. It did pass on second reading in the Senate yesterday, and it's up for third reading today, along with a list of, it's a mile long for third readings, and third reading means the final passage of the bill in that chamber. Because they did a strike below and changed the entire thing, it now will have to go back to the House, probably a conference committee. So it's just just such a big mess. So there's that one. There's a union bill that, here's in my mind the three biggies. A union bill that basically says you don't need 2 votes to join a union. You only need 1. And then, by the way, once a workplace approves a union, even if you voted against it and don't want it there, you still have to pay dues, which seems like a takings clause.
Yeah.
And then there's this really weird rideshare one that because a legislator had a specific experience in a rideshare car where she was assaulted, which that's terrible for somebody to be assaulted. But this bill would have more frequent background checks on these drivers and required video, which this just increases the prices for everyone. I say take away the prohibition on riders carrying concealed, and that just makes any assault problems go away. But who am I? So that one's still hanging out there too. And Lyft, one of the two big, Uber and Lyft are the two big rideshare companies. Lyft says you do that, we're out of Colorado. So who does that help? That helps nobody.
Oh, wow. The voice of Laura Carno, if you're listening later on the podcast, fastercolorado.org is her organization. You should throw a few bucks that way, keep kids safe on Colorado school campuses, fastercolorado.org. Laura, very, very quickly, we're talking with Harvard has been in the news. President Trump says they should lose their tax exempt status, which and they also have built all these Columbia, all these places have billions of dollars of endowments. And some of them have more money than the GDP of some third world countries. And yet we're still giving them taxpayer dollars. And I know you wanted to comment on this.
Yeah. And, good for the president and Linda McMahon, the secretary of the Department of Education, for saying because Harvard is doing all of these terrible political things and discriminating against Jewish students, not protecting Jewish students, that they should get $0 from the feds. And I agree. I also think that every university in the country should be like Hillsdale College. You are an institute of higher education. You offer, you're just selling a product and a service. You're selling a thing. You should go to the person who is buying the thing from you and say, I have this education and it's called a physics degree and it costs $20,000 a year. Do you want it? Do you not want it? The prospective students can go get loans from a private bank, not from the government. If they want to, they could, parents can take a loan out to help their kids. Kids can do some work study programs where they earn money at the college to afford their tuition. They could go work at Starbucks. All kinds of options here. Federal money is not the only way a college or a university can maintain its business. And it's this connection with the federal government when somebody else is in charge that we don't agree with that made all that DEI stuff happen. And I say it's time to cut the apron strings, cut the cord between education and the federal government.
Laura Carno, it is always a pleasure, and some people are still getting that image of the cigarette, the toenails out of their head. But other than that, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show, ma'am. Fastercolorado.org. What's the good work that you do there?
We help schools that want to have armed school security teams on campus to protect kids. And here in Colorado, we have a few days that are like Seattle right now. And I am really glad we're not training at the range right now, but it is a great program. We're in our 9th training year, and people can go to fastercolorado.org to find out more about what we do. And as you said, throw us a few bucks. For those who cannot see me today, I am wearing my Vitalent t-shirt to encourage everybody to donate blood if you are able. We, in this household, we go every 2 months to donate blood. And anybody who can should go check that out.
Vitalent. The shirt is there if you're not watching it. That's why we have to explain things for those who listen on the podcast later. Delilah sent me a message. She's not in here this morning. She left earlier to run an errand, and she texted me. She says, "I'm surprised Laura Carno puts up with you every week still." That's rude.
As am I. But here's the thing. You and I have been together longer than some marriages have been together.
This is true.
And this is with only seeing each other maybe once a year.
Maybe once a year. For those who don't know, it used to be that we saw each other at an event once a year, and I was required publicly in front of the event to get down on my knee and invite her onto the show for one more year. And boy, did that start controversy every year. They're like, oh my God, Lakey, and oh my Lord. They were
Yeah,
just
it was like it's like it was some sort of scandal or something, but it was literally just renewing our contract.
It was just renewing our contract. I had to be on my knee to do that and say, please, oh please, I beg you. All right, well, enjoy the toenails and the cigarette. I'll send you some Marlboros down there today.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, lauracarno.com or fastercolorado.org, fastercolorado.org. Yeah, I'm surprised as you are that she shows up every week. I'm just as surprised as you are. Hello, Star from Albany, New York, popping up on the screen there. Albany, we only got 2 or 3 from New York here this morning, don't we? Hello, New York. Good to have you here. Cody says, good morning, Jet Set Jimmy and Rancher Chad. We never explained the story about Rancher Chad. Remember Friday I told you the Rancher Chad was heading off to the eastern plains of Colorado, and they were going to castrate some little calves and turn them into steers and vaccinate them and all the stuff that they do on the ranch. And he was going to go be a rancher for a day. And so Saturday he was a rancher, and he sent me photos of bull testicles, or calf testicles or calf fries, and not cooked and not breaded, just fresh out of the scrotal region. He sent me these photos, and I said, well, fry them up. And he said, no. And I didn't know this. I did not know this at all, that out on the ranch, they have what is it called? The thing that they brand things on, the heat thing, that when you get those things, you just eat them not raw. You throw them on there, heat them at 100 billion degrees, and you just pop them right in your mouth. And producer Chad was sending me photos, and I was shocked by that. So that's where the Rancher Chad thing came in at. So calf fries. I told producer Chad, I had this whole conversation on Saturday. I'm like, I can't imagine. I don't want to see it. If it's covered in batter and breading and Tabasco sauce, and then maybe I can eat. I've had the Rocky Mountain oysters before, but seeing them being extracted from the scrotal region of this little animal and then just slapping them down on the griddle there and cooking them up, that's something I can't do it. I just cannot do it. Well, I guess I could have as a rancher and peer pressure, but it just doesn't sound appealing. But producer Chad's a real man, and he ate them just like that, and congratulations to him. I kept seeing this message from Rachel. I'm going to pop it on the screen. As I was talking to Laura Carno, said, you're freezing. And I'm like, do I look cold? I couldn't figure out if I look cold. And then she finally popped up and said, oh, I guess it's my internet. So thank you, Rachel. I was very scared that I looked like I was sick or cold or something. I feel fine. Really, I do. Coughing occasionally, but I digress. All right, let's see. What do we got? Let's come back to it. We'll talk more about this tomorrow, because what do you think this means? Oh, by the way, I had this question of the day, and I put a Twitter feed up on it, and let's get your comments here as we get ready to meme roulette. President Trump says he wants to reopen Alcatraz. We got a photo of it. Look at this. This is Alcatraz. And I meant to ask this question earlier. The Alcatraz photo. Oh, that's not it. That's the statement on producer. That's a statement on Tina Peters. Somewhere we got an Alcatraz picture. It's right there. Well, it disappeared. We lost it. That's okay. There it is, Alcatraz. Should we reopen Alcatraz? I also put this up on Twitter. If you're watching it, it's a question of the day poll. And I don't know if any of you responded, because I have not mentioned it to you yet. But if you'd like to give us 100% of the voters say yes, that we should have, and that's on Twitter. Just look up my name, Jimmy Lakey, and go vote in our poll. So far, I got 2 votes. I told you my Twitter's not that big. My X is not that big either. So my Twitter, my X, my whatever it's called, not that big. But go vote. Should we reopen Alcatraz? Do you see the purpose in it? Give me your thoughts on it. I'd love to get your thoughts on the old Alcatraz reopening the President Trump is touting, and let me know your thoughts on that. Indeed, should we reopen Alcatraz? You know how billions of dollars to probably refurb that thing, crank it back into shape. And if you think yes or no, should we open it? Go ahead and comment in the chat room as well, or read some of the responses here and give me your thoughts. Should we reopen Alcatraz? Does it matter? Does it seem like a fun discussion, or does it seem like a pleasant distraction? What do you think the president is trying to accomplish with this suggestion? Do you think it's hidden meaning? Do you think it's symbolic? of what he's trying to get us to think about in our minds. Should we reopen Alcatraz? That is an actual poll on my Twitter feed, which is just my name, Jimmy Lakey. And also, it's not just a poll on my Twitter feed. It's something right now you can comment on. All the forums we're on. Facebook.com/Jimmy Lakey fan page, Red Wave America, the Media Equalizer, YouTube, Rumble, etc., Instagram. You can comment as well. Should we reopen the old Alcatraz side as a prison? I'm sure it'd take years. It probably wouldn't be open before President Trump leaves office. I'm guessing there's that much remodeling they would have to do. But what say you? What do you think? And maybe it's a good place. Maybe it's a great thing for the libs in San Francisco to have to look at the lawlessness right across the bay area over there. You know, instead of a tourist attraction, let's just, I just find it an intriguing discussion. And usually with President Trump, he does something and he throws an idea out there that people say is wild. And then there's another side to it. And maybe that's what I'm trying to figure out on this one. What is the other side of that? And real quick, I want to remind you, we're going to talk more about this because I'll get some guests on the program about this. But this is the statement that President Trump put out yesterday, and it affects you in Colorado. And I know I have a lot of you in the room that every day comment about this. But this is President Trump's Truth Social feed yesterday, going after the Attorney General of Colorado, Phil Weiser, who ignores illegals committing violent crimes like rape and murder in his state, and instead he jails Tina Peters, a 69-year-old Gold Star mother who worked to expose and document Democrat election fraud. Tina is an innocent political prisoner being horribly and unjustly punished in the form of cruel and unusual punishment, and this is a communist persecution by Phil Weiser and the Democrats of the state of Colorado, the same Democratic Party that flies to El Salvador to try to free MS-13. And the terrorist is cruelly imprisoning, perhaps for life, a grandmother whose brave and heroic son gave his life for America. Colorado must end this incarceration of an innocent American. So he's calling on the Department of Justice to free Tina Peters. It's interesting. This is like the third or fourth day in a row that President Trump and the Department of Justice and Washington and the Trump administration have focused on the idiocy that has become the state of Colorado under the feckless and the failed Jared Polis. So, again, just watch it very closely. I would not be surprised if there's more lawsuits coming for Jared Polis, because these idiots down at the state capitol, including the idiot governor, cannot continue to act like they are and to be as tyrannical as they have been without, for every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. And it's going to be interesting to see if the Department of Justice is now bringing that reaction. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you one more time, two things. Excuse me. You ready? Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. I recommend you give her a call. It's a great time to start looking at what your next real estate move looks like. Maybe you know that you need a bigger home. Maybe you know you need a smaller home. Maybe you're thinking of retirement the next year. Maybe you're thinking of retirement tomorrow. I don't know. Whatever you're thinking about, why don't you have a strategy session? Don't wait until the last minute. Start preparing now. If you know that next year even is your time that you want to move, maybe you know that next month is a time that you're going to spend the next month getting your house ready. Start that strategy session now. And I recommend you do homeswithsherry.com, Sherry Cree, and have a conversation with her. She believes that if you make the right moves, and she knows you can, that real estate can create generational wealth. That means you can create something that you actually have something to give down to your kids and your grandkids if you play the real estate game right. Listen, there's a lot of questions, a lot of caveats. It's the neighborhood, it's the school. Are you moving in-state? Are you moving out of state? Do you want to avoid a gang banger neighborhood, Trende, Aragua? Are there neighborhoods that you could buy investment properties in now that are trending up? I mean, there's a lot of different thoughts that go through everybody's mind. Some of you are just like, listen, I'm just trying to get a bigger house. I'm just trying to buy my first house. Some of you are thinking, investment property. Whatever the case may be, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Some of you are not sure if it's the right time, the wrong time. Should you wait? You got some flexibility. You want to make the right move. Homeswithsherry.com. So you can talk about market trends, and market trends can vary from city to city. Homeswithsherry.com. Conversation, consultation. And she's just a fantastic person. I know her personally, and I recommend her for you. Homeswithsherry.com. Reach out to her, make the phone call, and just have that conversation. It's I'm not going to cost you anything to have a conversation, and then you can figure out the next steps. You may Be ready to go immediately now. You may be thinking 6 months down the road, but homeswithsherry.com is a conversation that I think you will appreciate having, and just have that peace of mind that you're making the right decision when it comes to real estate. And whether you're buying, selling, investing, don't forget, by the way, she's a portion of her proceeds that she makes on a commission. She will donate a portion of that to the charity of your choice with every closing. If you're a military, first responder, a veteran, listen, she's going to give a discount, take a hit on her commissions because she believes in serving that community and taking care of those who have served our country. So homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. I appreciate you supporting Sherry. Sherry Cree, homeswithsherry.com. All right, another thing I must remind you of, that May the 17th, 1 week from this Saturday, is our annual, we'll call it annual now, casino gala. Gala, which do you prefer to say, gala or gala? I prefer gala. Some people like gala. It's it's going to be a fantastic night. It's 1 week from this Saturday, and I'm telling you this, you get registered now. Now, if your price goes up, it still goes to the charity, but we really appreciate you getting locked in here, get your tickets purchased so we can get the right counts, have the right amount of food out for everybody, and it's going to be a fantastic night. Frank Sinatra's there. Derek Evilsizer. If you've never heard Derek Evilsizer, he's, I think, the best Sinatra impersonator or entertainer in the nation. I've never seen anyone better than him, and he's going to be a couple of hours of just great performance where you're playing casino games for fun. Somebody say I'm not a gambler. I don't. Listen, I'm not a gambler either, but it's a fun night. There'll be craps table there, and they'll teach you how to play. It's not just because there's no money. It's all for fun. We're just having some fun times, and it's educational. They'll teach you how to do it. You've always wanted to say, well, I want to go to Vegas and play the craps table. It looks like they're having fun, but I don't know what I'm doing. This is a chance for you to learn, but it's also a chance for you to support a great cause in the charity that I started, Rivers Promises. We're building Legacy Christian Academy in Rwanda, and I would appreciate your help to do so. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. Get registered. Go to riverspromise.org. Get yourself a ticket to the event. There's still room for table sponsors if you're a business person or just a family. You got a neighborhood group that likes to get together. Maybe have your church small group that likes to get together. Buy a table, have everybody got to pitch in and pay it back for you, or just it's all a charitable donation. Riverspromise.org. Maybe bring your small group, your Bible study. Bring them out. It's going to be a great night. Food's included. The gala's included. You can dress casually. You can dress your Vegas best. We get prizes away for the best dress, though. There's going to be music. It's going to be a party. And if you miss it, you're missing, it's bad. Very bad if you miss it. You don't want to miss this. Casino Gala. Get your ticket, riverspromise.org. If you're out of state, there's still time to fly in. There's a room block available at the Omni Interlaken Hotel, a resort in Broomfield, Colorado. We'll see you there. May the 17th, 1 week from this Saturday. I want to see you there. Register now. Get your ticket before the price goes up. Riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. And don't forget our friends at Budget Home Supply, our title sponsor, Budget Home Supply in Longmont. We appreciate Budget Home Supply for being a big part of this fantastic event coming up 1 week from this Saturday. All right, riverspromise.org, get your ticket in. All right, here we go. You know what this is. If you're listening, you don't know what it is. I'm holding up a globe, and the globe is in my hand because it's time for Meme Roulette. It's our Meme Roulette, stolen meme section of the show. And here's what we do. Spin the globe, but we steal memes from everywhere around the globe. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get this party started. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. We steal this one from Libs Meme Central. That's where we stole it from. Now you know. Hey, sorry, liberals, is what it says. You had 4 years to do something meaningful in this world. And all we got was Drag Queen Story Hour, 72 Genders, and Sesame Street in Iraq. Anything else that Joe Biden accomplished besides crap in his pants? Nope, I think that's it. Drag Queen Story Hour, 72 Genders, and Sesame Street in Iraq. Libs, you had your chance. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oh, this is true. This is so true. Look at this photo. Little boy sitting there in front of a television playing a video game. Y'all, this is me today. How many of you said this to your kids? Y'all kids spend too much time on those devices. You spend too much time on that Instagram, that Twitter. What are you doing, son? I picked my son from the airport last night. He's nonstop on the phone. I'm like, dude, could you stop flashing that phone right now? It's dark outside. Y'all spend too much time on the devices. However, this was me in 1987, down at the bottom, spending 3 days trying to make that one jump. Anybody remember that one? Yeah, about the time you yell at your kids or grandkids for being on their phones too much, remember how much time you spent. What was the other Nintendo game that I read? The Mike Tyson Nintendo game? I spent hours trying to beat that one. and the Top Gun, the Top Gun Nintendo game. Yeah, the original Nintendo. Yeah, had that one. Yeah, it was big time. That Mario. I got pretty good at Mario. Pretty good at it. All right, I digress. Round and around the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Here's a meme that says, work to buy whiskey, drink whiskey. You work so that, okay, I get it. Sorry, I have to follow along. I don't pre-screen all these. You work to buy whiskey. You drink whiskey to forget work. It's my circle of life. You follow that? That's, if you're just listening to the audio of this, you're thinking I'm drunk. This does not necessarily go for the audio. This is for the visual. All of you visuals out there. You work to buy whiskey, and you drink whiskey then to forget work. It's a circle. You see what I'm saying? It's a circle, like the globe. Let's go. Round around the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. It's a Family Feud game. We should do this. Name something that upsets a liberal. Number 1, the Constitution. Number 2, secure elections. Number 15 out of 100. So the national anthem. It's a Family Feud game. American flag. Donald Trump. I'm surprised Donald Trump's that low. Donald Trump's probably a little higher on that list. There we go. Round around the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Meme roulette. Oh, remember it said up on the Family Feud, it said that the Dems hate, the liberals hate science. And this is former HHS secretary, mentally deranged person that thought he was a woman. We are the Democrats. We believe in science. Except that chromosome thing, we don't believe in that one. That's true. Remember, get the vaccine. It's the science. We believe in science. Dr. Fauci said, I am the science. We believe in science. Except for that chromosome thing, the X and the Y. Yeah, you can be a they or a them. They believe in science when it's pertinent for them. Ladies and gentlemen, I just noticed today I'm the mic magician. You're welcome. Round around the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oh, this is funny. This is a picture of the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. And it's on fire. It's on fire. The Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine's on fire. And the caption says, and that's when Scooby and the gang realized that investigating the murder of Jeffrey Epstein was not going to be easy. That Mystery Machine did not burn itself. That's all I can say. Something happened. That did not catch on fire by itself. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. We might have milked the meme machine dry, and I think we did. And no more memes for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, did you see the P. Diddy trial? They're doing jury selection? How'd you like to be on that jury? No, thank you. No, thank you. I just saw the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and it made me think of that. All right, we'll come back tomorrow, talk more about Tina Peters. I'll give you the results of the poll. Should we reopen Alcatraz as a prison? That's on Twitter right now. And go vote there, and let's read some final comments that are coming into the into the chat room if anybody's got anything. Laura says, Carno's responded to Arloa. Hi, Arloa. That's Carno. She's jumping in the chat room as well. See, Carno didn't get enough stage time. I'm just joking, Laura. I'm just joking. Delilah's still on me about the toenails and cigarette thing. I think that was funny. I think that was one of my most funny lines. I think it was very good. And you know what? Going back to the days of radio, it's always happened to two people. It was Laura Carno and Jay Ratliff. And Jay Ratliff, every Thursday he'd be on the show. He'd go, how do you always give me these weird segues? And I don't know. You just bring out these weird segues in with me. And Laura Carno does the same thing. Probably because she's so prim and proper. And I don't even know what that means, prim and proper. Ladies and gentlemen, go sign up for our charity event coming up. I appreciate you doing that. And if you would go sign up today, it would make me feel very, very happy. Very happy. It would make me feel. Thank God for the cough button. I wish I had a cough camera. That'd be great as well. It's allergies. I can't get past them, but it's springtime in Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Go get registered. The casino night is coming up. Just over 1 week away. And if you're not there, I'm going to be very sad. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be tragically brokenhearted if a lot of you aren't there. I mean, I'm going to be very sad. Go get registered. Casino Gala. It's a great date night. All for charity. It's coming up May 17th, and today is the day to get her done. Get registered. We'd love to have you there, and I hope to see you May 17th. Until we meet again, if you'd like us to brag about your business on the show, contact us, info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com. All of you, don't forget Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify and all the podcasts. You can catch us in other great interviews. So just follow Lakey Unleashed. Until we meet again, I mean this. God bless you. God bless America. I'm Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.